Alright, hey guys, Tim here with The Juice. I want to talk about this last weekend's team trials. Had a bunch of really cool conversations with coaches and athletes at it, and what it means for short and long-term athlete development and how it fits into your training. Okay, first off, if you competed at all this week and you stepped into the ring, congratulations. There is always a huge qualitative and quantitative difference between anyone who is on the sidelines and getting in the ring, right? President Theodore Roosevelt's statement of the man in the arena applies true, so congratulations on that. Now, some people made team this weekend that had been long overdue. Congratulations. I think that has to do with your perseverance, how hard you're working, and also because with the change in the rules, which I think is a really good thing, we're going to uncover why that is. You got to showcase more of the combination of athleticism and fighting that we want to see in a combat sport. So that was good, and congrats on that. The short-term view versus the long-term view in training and especially with regards to team trials. All right, here's the skinny. Because there was that big rule change and obviously got a lot of heat for it, they were trying to make some things right. And look, we get it, change is hard. They're trying to fix things. It looks a lot better now than it was. Some people took that as, and I'm thinking more on the coaches' side, some coaches took that as a license to stop training fundamentals, to stop trying to do athletic development stuff. Plenty of coaches out there I've spoken to, and we've spoken to, I'm sure you've heard them too, would say things like, oh, we don't need to train this anymore. We don't need to do these type of strength conditioning corrective pieces anymore. It's just this. And while they might be right on a super micro view, macro view, they're wrong, and I battled people to that. We've been talking about this for years, trying to say that's not the case. So we're very happy with what we're getting to see in the trend of where it's going. What we know is, like anything else, the more you take that short-term view, it better be the very end. Like, again, if you're competing at the Olympics tomorrow, we don't need you to be training for 5 years down the road. You're doing just what you're doing for competition. But if you're developing athletes, right, and especially if you're a parent who I've spoken to on the phone with for one of your younger children to do their remote coaching, you'll know one of the things I say is that in 5 years the game is going to change. And in 5 years the game is going to change again. It won't look like it is now. So if we get too caught up in the moment of what we think is relevant now, we short our long-term success. And that happened to a lot of people this weekend. I don't feel terribly bad for the coaches. That's what some coaches get. Those of you coaches that had the right view, that were trying to do things the right way and adapt to the game, but still keep the right pieces in place that we know work in everything, I think you hopefully had a great weekend, or at least are moving forward on that. So a little bit of tough love there, but that's what I think. We know this is true in other sports, so this isn't something unique to our sport. In gymnastics, and I got to talk really closely about this with a couple high-level gymnasts, and my uncle, Ron Bell, was an NCAA champion at UC Berkeley, at Cal, and also a coach there for a long time, among working with other people. So he shared me into how other sports develop their athletes. And one of the things for gymnastics, for the girls, everyone's aware that they have to peak so early. So what do we think they do? Just grind them down. True, but not true, right? They actually have a program called the TOPS program, and that is their talent identification program. What happened was, if you remember, early millennium, stuff like that, China was really dominating. And what type of athlete did they have? These very small girls, right? They weren't even women yet. Small girls that were not even of age in gymnastics. They were vying to go up into the divisions because they were so small. And what happened was, every other country tried to start, weeding out the powerful athletes and trying to find just this one body type with no long-term development in mind. Well, what happened with the rules recently? They changed the rules to make it more explosive, more exciting, more powerful, more dynamic for gymnastics. Again, a very good thing. And the U.S. has been crushing it, right? We don't have to go into details on that. It's crushing it. My uncle explained to me they have the TOPS program, is a strength and conditioning protocol for their 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. And what does it involve, right? Is it a whole bunch of hours on hours of gymnastics? Look, there's a lot of technique work, of course, but they do, their tests involve rope climbs, right? Their tests involve static handstand holds. Their tests involve handstand to press, core holds, and flexibility. So building the general building blocks that you need to be a good gymnast, so when you start training, you can do it, right? Because the rules might change a little bit, but this has been a huge piece for that. If you're in our youth empowerment licensing program, what does that look like? Part of our level 1 and 2 protocol, right? To earn your initial stars on your shirt. So we believe in that. That's out there because that's what the science and data shows for those type of sports to develop athletes long term. So we want to do the same thing for this. Final pieces. 3, I didn't even label it, didn't have a good name. I just made kind of a chart of the 4 different types of fights. And again, this is super binary, just 1 or 0, did they or don't they. So we know fighting is always a shade of gray with everything, but here's basically the parts of that was with the older game, the real older game, right, was the taekwondo or fighting that a lot of us loved, and it changed, and that was more the front leg game, we'll just call it that for easy term. That fundamentals, like traditional fighting components, distance, timing, follow, kicking off your back leg, hard, following hard, trying to take someone out, and then athletic development, good general athletic qualities. So what I saw this weekend in talking to coaches and some athletes competing, there's a reason why all the Olympians that fought, I think, look so good, because they all had good fundamentals, good athletic development. They're awesome athletes, and they were good at both games, so they put it together and it looked great. So here's kind of the analysis. People with a good front leg game, no fundamentals, no athletic development. They weren't trying to get better as an athlete inside the framework of that. I don't think had a very good weekend. Now, some did, yeah, sure. It's, again, fighting. There's always more factors than these 3 involved in that. But that was, I think we saw the lowest output there. People with a bad front leg game, but let's say they had good fundamentals, but never got the proper work on athletic development, did better than the people just doing the floofy kick or whatever this is, but didn't have fundamentals or athletic development. So fundamentals always are good. We want to always emphasize that. From there, it gets a little interesting. The good front leg game, but no fundamentals, right? They were trying to get good at the older game. They didn't have the right fundamentals, but they still were trying to be better as athletes, because that makes us more adaptable, did better than the people with good fundamentals, but no athletic development, right? You can see just in the quality of they move. Again, speaking to their coaches, a lot of them I even work with, so I get to see their level of progression through that. The top one, the people that really, really crushed it this weekend, and you go back and look at the videos and you'll put it together too. They had a good front leg game, maybe not a super specialist, but they knew how to do that very well. They had good fundamentals, right? They knew probably older game and good general strategy and fighting concepts, right? And good athletic development. And again, when I talk about the Olympians, how good they looked, a lot of them were national team, got some in the 90s, right? 2000s, multiple Olympians here fighting did great, right? Because they had all the pieces. They didn't take the short-term view and go, well, I'm just going to work on my front leg because that's all I need, and now I don't need to work on getting faster or more explosive or recovery or aerobic recovery work or CP, ATP work. I'm just going to do this. That's short-term. We want that long-term thing. And again, noticing how the China-US dynamic in gymnastics, we see that same trend. We could spot it in a lot of other sports too. We see it, again, when people want to cut weight too early. Nothing wrong with cutting weight when it's right. Before that, I'd say, do you have good fueling habits? Do you have good food awareness and good food emotions, right? And then we can build on a proper foundation. But no, I want to have Billy cut 22 pounds to be a blue belt state champion at 6. Whew. Okay, that's going to be the high water mark there for Billy. Okay, and sorry, Billy, that's just the way it goes. But again, we want to have good technique, good development, and good awareness of whatever the current prevailing ecosystem is for your sport. And that's kind of my take. I'd love to hear your guys' take on how team trials went. Also interested to hear how you think people seeing that this is going this way is going to shape up at Worlds. I'm honestly really excited for the US's team at Worlds. We have a good combo of youth and experience, and I think it's going to be a very big uptrend. So congrats to everyone on that, and look forward to working with you soon.